Hello YouTube, this is Big Tip and Adam, and today I'd like to talk about my Mosin Nagant. Love these rifles, and I could probably do a separate video on just why people like them and so on and so forth, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I do want to talk about is putting a scope on this bad boy. That was an adventure, and I'd like to save some people some trouble and maybe help you figure out what you want to do, but I'll talk specifically what I did. I got the ATI scope mount kit, and that kit goes right here, right over the receiver. It drills into the receiver right here. There's actually two bolts going on right there, and yeah, you have to permanently modify your Mosin. So if you're one of these guys who likes that all your numbers match or wants to make a big deal about it, it's an antique, and it is an antique. It's a piece of history. I dig it. I can dig it a lot. But you know what? This rifle cost me $89. I got it before the hysteria at a place up here in Minnesota we call Mills Fleet Farm. Awesome place. And they made these things by the millions, literally. So I didn't take it sacred. I just kind of took it as a learning experience, and I guess good thing too, because it took a lot of work to get what you see here. This setup is great, especially for your scope. Most scopes are like this. You can do the option where you get a Scout scope mount that goes right over here, the rear sight for iron sights for the Mosin. Some guys like those. Actually, I haven't actually met anybody who likes having them there, but they just have it there just because that was the only option, and that's the only option to keep it, to keep it original or whatever. But I don't know. I don't like the Scout mount because the eye relief is it's just a weird way. Most people are used to having their rifles sit right up here, where it should be, where God intended it. Anyways, this also creates a problem. You obviously, since your original Mosin bolt handle will be sticking straight out and then straight up when you put it out, you have to either modify yours to have a bent handle or go out and buy one. I'm a cheap wad, and ATI was nice enough to include this bolt-on, whatever you want to call it, this bent bolt, but some machining is required. Now, if you are not familiar with drilling and tapping or have done some sort of shop work some point in your life, I would heavily recommend you just drop it off to either a gunsmith or a machinist, somebody who knows what they do. It doesn't necessarily have to be a machinist. I just happen to know a machinist who's also really good with guns. So he professionally installed that, measured everything right where it needed to be, and drilled that out. That's just a better way of doing it because I tried it, and I don't know if I used the wrong drill bits or whatever, but I accidentally drilled out the hole too big. So it definitely needed a machinist to fix the work I had done, and another friend actually installed this for me. So, but also created a problem if you're going to have if you're going to install a side bolt from the ATI kit, you will have to cut out a little piece of your wood there. That's not a big deal. It was just you get yourself a round file and just file it out till it's done, and then I used some. I went to the hardware store and got some polyurethane and just dabbed it in there. I also used some wood darkener first, like some wood finish to kind of make it match, but that's totally not necessary. I mean, how often are you going to move it from that? But whatever, I did it just because I was feeling adventurous. But the important thing is to get some polyurethane or something in there to keep it from rotting out or anything, So that's about the size of it. This is the only method that I found that works. Oh, and heads up, you also do want to spend some money on a decent scope that is going to be able to take the recoil, because I had a cheap Simmons scope mount on here, and it wrecked it. I'm not sure what caliber it was meant for. My brother just gave it to me, and it was wrecked because the recoil on these babies is pretty heavy. So right now I have an expensive Simmons scope. It's for deer hunting. I imagine it was meant for 30-06, which is very close to the 7.62 by 54R cartridge. So we're talking 2 peas in a pod. So this thing is sighted in great at 200 yards. I don't currently have many places where I can go shoot beyond that. But yeah. Oh, and also put a little limb saver. I'm a little bit of a shorter guy, so I had to cut down I wanted to put a limb saver on here, but with the limb saver combined with the long stock on here, I actually cut this down a little bit and add the limb saver. So it's I probably cut about 4 inches off, and then this is like 2 by itself. So just got a little bit closer. So, but that's just me. That is about the only other modifications I have on this. But it's been fun with this thing. You get a cheap rifle. It's good. It's great, and it's good. It's nice, soldier-proof, as it were. And you don't feel bad modifying it. If you got a brand new out of the box Remington 700 or whatever, even if you get a cheaper Savage, you probably don't want to be going modifying it personally. But I got a mechanic background, so I feel like tinkering with things. What can I say? And that about does it. Normally I would have shot this video down in my workshop, but this time of day the lighting was really nice in here, and I just decided to film it in my living room here while the missus was out. So, alright, catch you guys later. Good shooting. If you got any questions, post it down here. I might do another one on just generally Mosin Nagant. And one more thing before I go. Infinity loop.